I'm Matthew Peters.
And I'm Fiona Peters.
And we're the authors of Don't Own, Don't Rent, Live Well.
And we're Red Minions.
Get off the bench!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Red Men Show, episode 49.
We have a new feature for you. It's the feature failure.
The featured failure, at least one, could be 12 an episode, you never know, but at least one failure an episode is how we're going to kick off the show.
We thought we'd just start with it. Get it out there, lay the challenges that have been facing us in the last week and or the failures that we've experienced. Let's begin with a big one.
Sure.
Very big one.
Sure.
Monumental.
Sure.
Colossal.
Sure.
The RV trip.
What RV trip? Moving on. Okay.
Killed it. Done. Dead.
It was
Episodes 38 and 39 were dedicated to the most wonderful
fabricated
RV
lie
trip.
that the Red Men could tell you is what
Here,
it was.
It's a victim of the ready, fire, aim mentality that we have.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go back and you review, there's a moment when I share that I hadn't even yet entertained this idea with my wife.
Why would you?
Among other reasons, i.e. scheduling and the fact that my sister is going to have her first child this summer. My other sister is going to have her fourth child this summer.
Yeah.
We're going to come out with an information product instead.
Hopefully.
It's our way of reaching out to the Ren Minions, but I'm sorry, guys. The RV trip,
No go.
no go. We're going to travel.
Yeah.
We're going to try to promote some things that we've got going on,
Yeah.
but it's going to be more like in short bursts via airplane.
Via mini retirements.
Yes,
Yeah.
as opposed to the families in a big caravan type scenario.
Any more failures? Number 2.
The information product. Deadline came and passed. Gone.
We're not
See ya.
even-
Where would you go? Where'd you go? Where is that deadline? See? Oh wait, no, it'd be behind us. It wouldn't be ahead of us. It'd be behind us.
We
So-
haven't even finished filming,
Right.
and we were supposed to be finished editing by now.
Yeah. Here's why.
We're awesome.
Okay, among scheduling conflicts, among weather conflicts, the reality is we're giving you everything that we have.
Yeah.
We're giving you our best, and as we continue to offer more ideas come about,
Yeah.
more production needs come about. It's getting better and better and better, which means more and more and more, which is one great big excuse like the dog ate my homework. So,
Or he made me do more.
new internal deadline, June 1st. We want to have all production wrapped up. Gives us a month to get that accomplished.
Yep.
Root for us. Yet another failure.
Number 3. We're going to use them all up. Yeah, right, dude. We got thousands of them in the bank.
The two horsemen did not make their appearance
Negative.
at South by Southwest.
We were scared to death of Gary V and his
we had
Vaynerchukness.
we had two illnesses that prevented our attendance at South by Southwest. That's a major failure in my book.
Kicking the nuts.
Yeah. Well, we've got a couple other potential conventions that we may be attending. We may attend them together, we may attend them individually, or we may just phone it in and catch the webinar. Who knows? But we'll keep you abreast of those as well. So those are the 3 failures that we're going to open today's show.
We have hundreds more, but we're going to keep those as a little secret.
Yeah, plus we're going to keep them fresh.
Yeah,
So,
we don't want to waste them all now.
We'll see what happens between now and next
This
Wednesday.
would be a 4-hour episode. If
It
we
would be.
threw them on.
So what do we have for you today on the show? Matthew and Fiona Peters.
Big
It's good
time.
stuff.
Dude,
It's good
strong
stuff. Good stuff. How about we just talk to them? Let's get after it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so fired up to have Matthew and Fiona Peters with us. They are the new authors. Maybe you're not new authors. Are you old authors? New authors? I don't know. Anyway, it's a new book. And the new book is Don't Own, Don't Rent, Live Well. Tremendously intriguing title.
Great title.
Because I was like, what on earth is inside of that book? Really. And after having gone through the book, I now understand why it's titled Don't Own, Don't Rent, Live Well. So welcome, Matthew. Welcome, Fiona.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Opinions, all the good stuff and all of that. So I want to start by letting the Ren Minions know that we met Matt at Tim Ferriss's party back in February of 2010.
The boat party in San
And at that point, Matt, you'd done some pretty incredible things and had a really an interesting story. And I knew at that point that really of the personalities that were in attendance at the party that night, that we connected more with you than we did with a lot of the other people that were in that circle. And I think that's because we have these Midwestern sensibilities, A, and B, that our stories were a little more alike in how we'd kind of come into the internet, as opposed to a lot of these guys had these like internet muses that were already established for generating major passive income for themselves. And at that point, they reminded me a lot like Arthur. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
So we shared that dinner. You sat across the table from us, and we knew that great things were going to come from your future because you, as much as you were into passive income, you also applied yourself and worked hard. That was very, very clear. And I just want to congratulate you because this is quite an accomplishment.
That's strong, man.
I mean,
Thank you
you
very
know,
much.
For both of
yeah,
you,
I
definitely.
mean, truly, no doubt about it. So anyway, let's let the Ren Minions know a little bit about your story. They're going to tell better than we are, right?
That's probably
Okay, all right.
That is
So
probably
let, go back as far as you'd like, but really, let's talk. What was the impetus behind the book, and what is that drove you to decide we have a compelling story to share and some techniques that would help somebody, and so let's put them on paper.
Yeah, well, the first thing was we did this kind of out of necessity because we found ourselves deep in debt. Actually, with personal loans over $40,000 in personal debt and past due credit cards, and that was right when I got out of college. And so when we got married, we had this big financial mess.
That's right.
And so it was out of necessity because we'd saved money on not going out to eat. We sold a car. We sold a bunch of things, but that really didn't make a dent into our debt. So it was out of necessity for writing the book, but also we have other friends who have claimed bankruptcy, have been told they should foreclose upon their house instead of doing some other situation. And there was a lot of bad advice out there, and there's a lot of people who feel they're stuck.
Yes.
And I know that the book is kind of more about getting free housing, but it's also helping people who are in the W-2 or the job mentality to really open up to think about what possibilities there are out there and not to rely on a job and to get a little more creative about their career. And so that's kind of what made me decide to write the book is I knew there was a need out there for people.
Right.
And if you could cut one of your expenses, I thought, well, if you can cut your biggest expense, and then also having a small business, there are tax deductions as well. So that's another thing I want to get into later on down the line too.
Absolutely. And we were already doing this and we were already living this lifestyle, and people were saying, well, how are you doing that? How could that work for me? And so Matthew had a music album, didn't care about the music album as much as how are you getting your housing for free? How to live in this 3-bedroom gorgeous place for free? So they wanted to know about that. So we saw this as a great way to help other people.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I would agree. So I think the other thing that's of interest to me with regard to your backstory is that you have a spirit of adventure about you. And you have a spirit of adventure about the relationship that the two of you share. So early in your marriage, you go about and you head out west, and you're doing kind of trailblazing for yourselves and what would be your family. Can you talk about how that spirit is found inside the book, and maybe does it provide a certain amount of courage that allowed you to look at something a little bit more non-traditional? Look at something, through a set of eyes, or implementing techniques that aren't what are the majority of our culturally aware sensibilities, that kind of a thing.
I think if you talk about the spirit of adventure, when I was young, I had all this spirit of adventure. And then, I don't know about you guys, but trying a business and failing on another one, and failing on another one, after a while I get kind of beat down.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there was several points where maybe I should just go get a job because at least I know I'd have a steady income.
Sure.
And it was when I had several people tell me I should read 4 Hour Work Week. And I thought it was like 4-day work week, 4-hour work day. I didn't make any connection there. And so when I read it, that's when I totally had a life change.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys talk about there's 3 authors that really kind of changed your lives.
Yep.
And definitely Tim Ferriss is one of them, Robert Kiyosaki. When I read that book, it really clicked with me. And so I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit that I guess that sense of adventure. I always wanted that sense of adventure. But as you go through and you keep on failing, sometimes people lose that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I want to give people hope in the book, because a lot of people have lost it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that answers your question.
It's just a matter of getting back up, man. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. It's just a matter of getting back up. But sometimes it is. It's very hard to get back up after you've been knocked out about 4 or 5, 10,000 times.
Mm-hmm. What I also enjoyed is that you guys approach this from a level of creativity that allows instant relief. Through the use of the techniques that you have in the book, you're not talking about a need for additional resource. You're not talking about a need to earn extra income or to cut expenses. You're really talking about a creative new relationship that you would be able to to place yourself in, and all of a sudden you have housing at no additional expense to yourself. It's like immediate the opportunity. So I guess that's the other thing that I'm really attracted to is this sense of resourcefulness that you're approaching life from as well, because that's one thing that I had seen in a TED talk from Tony Robbins, and it was very an interesting little bit of dialogue there as he talks about all of the challenges and why something fails. And so he asks quickly for all of the reasons that certain challenges that people have experienced fail. And one of the people who offers a suggestion or offers a real experience as to why something failed was Al Gore, sitting in the front row of the speech. And at the end of this, he's talking about, why did it fail, why did it fail? And he looks at them all and he says, no, it failed out of lack of resourcefulness. Yeah. It's the first time that I'd ever heard or seen someone put someone like Al Gore in place. Looked at him and said, if you'd been more resourceful, whatever your challenge was, Mr. Gore, you too could have overcome. Yeah. And I thought, wow, that to me, that's a very strong statement. But you guys approach things resourcefully. Yeah. And with a sense of, not only that creativity, but also common sense. Common sense that is really kind of caused our culture to be blind to these kinds of opportunities. And so I just commend you for that. I think that, I don't want to, get into any of the major specifics of the book. I'd let you do that. But I just want you to say that that's among the things that draw me to that book are that sense of resourcefulness and creativity as well.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Well, I think with the resourcefulness part of it is that you don't want another job. When you read a book, you don't want to all of a sudden start a whole new thing that takes so much time. And something that we try to focus on the book is basically being lazy smart. So, because in reality, I'm actually pretty lazy. So, get as little amount of work as possible and get as much accomplished as possible, as we probably all do. And so then a lot of people think, okay, when you become a resident manager or community executive, you must work a ton of hours in order to get your housing for free. But in our scenario, our 3-bedroom is about $13,000 for the year, and we work less than 50 hours for the whole year.
Right. Right.
So
that's awesome. We call Lazy Smart efficient in this office. You guys can call it whatever you want to. And that kind of leads me into the first topic we want to talk about in the book, about the flywheel. And we talk about it, the flywheel. I'll let you guys describe what you guys describe as a flywheel. But here we talk about a duck. And when you see a duck swimming, he's hanging out at the top, and from above the water, he's good to go. Now below water, buddy, he's kicking as fast as he can possibly kick. Yeah. But upstairs, he looks like it's golden. It's good to go. And that's kind of what the flywheel is. It gets down, you give it a little spin, and then kind of coast, and then readjust and kind of go from there. So that was probably my favorite thing from the book that I took from it was the flywheel.
And I would ask, would you guys describe what the flywheel is?
Sure.
For me, the flywheel is getting things set up, and like you said, there is course correction as you're doing that. But most people go into what we talk about in the book is as a resident manager, they go in or they back into the position, and they're always kind of like juggling stuff and not really sure what's going on all the time. And so what we did is we set up a system, and we wanted to lessen the work as much as we could. So what we did was we streamlined everything. And Fiona is great at organization, and I'm not. So she does all the planning, she does all the paperwork and everything, and all the forms, and she knows everything that's going on. And when you get that thing spinning, you're doing, like I say in the book, 80% of your work for that year or for then on is getting everything set up. So yeah, there's a lot of work up front. Like I think we were working maybe 30 hours a month when we first started, because there was a lot of vacancies and
a lot of catch-up work from the previous
sure.
resident manager, things that he neglected.
Sure.
But now, I mean, like we'll work maybe an hour this week.
Yes.
And that's paperwork, phone calls, you know, stuff like that, answering emails.
Right.
But once you get it set up and you have that system, people fit into your system instead of answering every phone call all throughout the day, answering every email. So those interruptions, people just kind of fall into a system you already have set up instead of you having to accommodate to everything that's coming at you.
That's right. So it's like allowing your voicemail greeting to give them all the information that they need, so that if you don't have an availability, they just hang up. They don't need to leave a message. And if they have an emergency, they have their number to call. And then they'll know what your availability is if you accept pets, and all those things that people amazingly don't leave on their greeting. And you could just cut that out.
Right. We own 100 single-family residential homes. And
you got your 100.
Yay!
We did.
Right. It's a huge accomplishment.
It is.
Wow.
We stole the greeting that is in the book from you guys, so we want to thank you for that.
Your voicemail, your suggestion on page 156.
Immediately.
I photocopied it this morning and handed it to our assistant office manager and said, "Here, implement this immediately." Because I know that we had left some of the information that you suggested, but you had done it in such a nice and pleasant way.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to it feeling automated and bulleted. It really was conversational, and it was something that we can use as a script that they can update all the time without having to remember, oh, did I include this, did I not? So, yeah, we immediately, you know, regardless, there are a lot of tips and techniques in your book that I'm sure that we're going to be able to use in managing our own portfolio of properties. So, you know, regardless of whether you're just starting or whether you're an experienced and seasoned property manager, you're going to get something from your book.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a really neat thing and a testament to what an exhaustive job you guys have done in putting that together. Yeah. So, well, let's talk briefly about is there anything next for you guys? I mean, I know that this is cool, and we can find this. How would you suggest if someone's interested in getting a copy? Where do you recommend that they go?
Yeah, if they go to don'towndon'trent.com, they can buy the book through Amazon there. But if they send me their receipt that they purchased it, then they get into there's a free video series, and there's audios and a bunch of free stuff for people that they're not going to get if they just buy the book.
Okay, that's killer.
We'll link that.
Yeah, we'll link that up too in the bottom. So we'll be sure to include that so that it's pushing traffic to you guys. So anything else in the works? Are we working on anything? Are we planning any trips by chance? Are we any of that kind of stuff? What's the story?
Yeah, I mean,
we're getting away, just the two of us. We're very excited about that.
Yeah, all right.
That's awesome.
And so without the kids, which is always nice.
Yeah.
Just planning a bunch of mini vacations over the summer. I think one of your posts I watched before mentions that you guys go on a lot of mini vacations with your family.
We try.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know.
Your 4-hour work week, your 4-day weekends.
That's right. That's right.
So we're doing that more this summer, and we just came back from Naples, Florida, and we had shot a bunch of videos. It's on our website that answers a lot of the most frequently asked questions people ask. And so, you know, we're on the beach and answering questions like, "Can you really get away from your apartment community?" You know, questions like that we answer. So
that's great. Well, wonderful.
As far as other things that we're working on right now, we've got the online portion of the teaching, and we're going to be building that out and having a forum. And what else are we going to be having there? Well, there's going to be a lot more interaction. Then we're going to have more live training. So right now, like tonight, we have a live training, and then we're going to have several more. Because I'm not going to pretend that I'm a professional in everything. I want to find someone who's a professional at networking, at organization, all those things, and I've got those people lined up, and we've made those connections. So they're very willing to share their knowledge with our people, and I just think that's great to be able to work with people like that, because I can't dispense all the knowledge and pretend like I know everything.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Your favorite question? You want to give it to him or what?
Oh, hey, I like that one. Yeah, what's the single question or the greatest question that we should have asked you that we have not yet asked you?
It's always a stumper. We love it.
I know. We're like, what
Do
are
we
you talking
give
about?
deer in the headlights look?
Yeah, pretty much. That's
Okay.
generally what happens. But is there a wheelhouse idea that we haven't covered that you wanted to be sure that or you thought would be of interest or of value to our viewership?
Yeah, I think we just tell people how to do this. I mean, it's simple process. If that's cool,
I like it. No, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So how do people do this?
Yeah, what is don't own, don't rent? What does that mean? Do we live on somebody's couch? What is it don't own, don't rent? So.
Yeah, I think vagabonding is awesome, and but when you get to a certain age, you got to have like a home base. And the cool thing about don't own, don't rent, live well is it teaches people to have the stability of a home, but also have the mobility of being able to leave whenever you want. Not just vacations, but if you have a job change, if you want to move to a warmer climate or whatever your case may be, we have a 60-day, it's like 30 or 60-day notice.
Yeah,
and we
60
can,
days.
and we owe nothing. We don't have to try to sell a house or anything like that. But what we did was we found a resident manager position in the newspaper, and we met with them a couple times, and Fiona checked out the place, and she is an awesome negotiator, and they started out with like a two-bedroom townhouse for, and then we'd have to pay $500 a month. And then you can tell them what
Yeah, and so, we already owned a home and we're living in our own home. And I thought if I was going to go and do this, then what I wanted was to have my rent completely free. So what I was able to negotiate was a 3-bedroom, which is another 500 square feet, but then be able to say, how about we just do this on how well I do, on how well we do as a team. And so that if people, if we have everything rented, then it's based on that. So then if there's 4 vacancies, then it's $400 a month. 3 vacancies is $300 a month, all the way down to 0. So then he knows, the landlord knows we're doing our job and that we're doing our best to be able to give him the most profit, but then we are getting something positive in return.
Yeah, it's definitely a win-win for everybody.
It's win-win. It is.
Every apartment you rent out is so much more important to him than the $100 that you're saving.
Absolutely.
But it's so great that you guys get to save that $100 as well. And it's a win. That's an awesome idea.
And I, as a landlord, that's a creative and fun way for us to look at incentivizing our team members as well. So that's
Absolutely.
it's a very creative way, and I can't imagine that more landlords hadn't thought of that themselves.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't have been offering you that from the get-go. So that's
Great.
wonderful. Thank you guys so much for extending the time and energy into creating the book, and then also your willingness to be a part of our program. I know that our community and the Ren Minions would benefit greatly from running out and getting a copy of this book immediately and exploring and testing these techniques for their own lives. Because I know that, if not only would someone who wants to replicate what we've done benefit financially from the techniques and the tips that you've offered, but they benefit from experience immediately. Imagine the value of managing someone else's portfolio of properties before you managed your own.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
I mean, that's like that.
Huge.
What a great opportunity
Yeah.
that is. You get to make all of the mistakes on somebody else's coin, right? Then rather than
That's
with
what jobs
your
are for.
own. That's right.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and I'm sure that we'll be catching up with you here very soon.
Well, I just want to say thank you to you guys because for you guys getting in contact with us again, and I know that Renman you're always pushing your limits. You're always keeping people accountable, keeping yourself accountable. I've watched several of your episodes, and I love your style, and I love how you guys are attacking life, and that is something that is needed, even with entrepreneurs, because a lot of entrepreneurs get bogged down in all of the, I need to have a Twitter account, I need to have Facebook and all this stuff. They don't think about like the passion and the drive, and you guys are so
Right.
passionate about what you do, it's contagious. So I thank you guys for inviting us to be part of your Ren Minions, and thank you, Grant and Alan, for having us on.
Sure.
It was awesome.
Anytime,
right.
man. Thank you guys.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. And if your travels ever bring you through Ohio, stop and say hi.
Sounds good.
Great,
right.
thanks.
We'll see you guys.
All right, Ren Minions, what did we learn today?
For me, I learned that there is an entire entirely large group of individual kick-ass people doing amazing things on the internet who reach out to us, we reach out to them.
Very quickly are they doing it as well. Because that dude and that young lady spit out a book in no time, boys and girls.
And a quality book, too.
Oh, man,
Like,
phenomenal.
you know, and I think it's very clear. And, you know, I have seen this personality trait in Matt and Fiona, and I've also seen this personality trait in Adam Baker.
Yep.
They, once they get their tentacles into something,
They get after it.
it doesn't
No
stand a
messing around, dude.
chance.
Yeah.
They are ferocious, they're efficient, and they just tackle it with abandon, man. I mean, you know, we ready, fire, aim all the time, but not with like the dedication to
They
a specific
machine gun.
project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like ours is more like just a lifestyle,
Yeah.
but theirs is like tactically they just get after it and kill it. So
I mean, to be third ranked in real estate when it
debuted on Amazon,
Oh,
it was
man.
beating Trump's book, it was beating Kiyosaki's book in the real estate category on Amazon.
that's awesome.
Oh, like you got to
That's cool.
frame that,
Yeah,
son. You
yeah.
just screen capture quickly, toss that on the wall, thump the chest, put a Polaroid, and be like, call out Trumpy and Kiyosaki, mail it to them. Be like, boys, what you got? What you got? Bring it.
I've only been on there for 15 years.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Not this week,
Doesn't matter.
boys.
Listen.
Not this week.
Listen, every major like champion as far as boxer and wrestler or whatever, they could have been it for a decade, but one day they get beat,
Yeah,
baby. When they
true.
go down hard, and I want to be the one swinging. That's all I'm saying. All right, hey, challenge us. Tell us to get off our ass and write a book. What do you think?
Yeah.
You like the idea?
Sounds like a plan.
I like the idea.
Sure.
Until next time, watch,
Learn.
comment.